Well, hello everybody and welcome to another blog from sunny Singapore. Well, actually it's not so sunny today, it's a little bit cloudy, but it's still quite warm. And my grandson Ollie and I have just been for a walk along Clementi Canal. And as we were walking along, we were talking about the various things that we've seen in Clementi Canal. And over the 6 years that I've been visiting here, we've seen quite a few features in terms of different types of water life. We've seen water monitor lizards, we've seen turtles, we've seen koi carp fish, and various other live creatures. And we've seen, lots of birds around the canal, and we've seen various other things, water voles and rats and various other things. And we thought, well, why don't we look at channeling into this as a tourist attraction to be able to let people come and see the delights of the canal? Because everybody, lots of people like to see animals, etc. And take for instance this little chappie here. These are beautiful creatures. And if we can channel into it, I'm sure there'll be a market. And Ollie and I was talking, and we thought, well, what can we do? Do we just hire a boat and charter the boat for trips, or what? And we suddenly thought, well, look, there's so much going on there. A little story. 2 years ago, I was walking along the canal with my wife, and we suddenly saw a flurry in the water by the canal edge, and we looked. And it was a water monitor with it was a really big one, 2 meter one, and it had in its mouth a fish, and it was a massive fish, and we couldn't understand why it was thrashing about, but all of a sudden it started to roll, and we realised that there were 2 of them there, 2 water monitor lizards fighting over one fish. And in the end, one of the monitors actually just scrambled, swam to the side of the canal and just put its hands on the side and just rested there, and the other one swam off to the other side, and the other one, the victor, had the fish in its mouth, and it was absolutely a massive fish. So we thought, well, why don't we look at, boat, you see lots of turtles and things on the surface, but we thought, well, what's underneath? There must be a haven of life underneath, under the water. So what we're looking to do is we're going to hire a small submersible vessel, and Oliver and I are going to travel along the canal underwater to see what we can see. And if this is successful, what we'll do is it probably only hold about 3 or 4 people, but just think of what you could see travelling along Clementi Canal. And you never know, in future days we might even be able to go into Marina Bay, providing we've got permission from the water board, the canal authority, or whoever. So if you watch this space, and I'm sure that you'll see some advertisements in the not too distant future for our trips. And there's another feature to the submersible vessel. What we're also thinking about, diving. So we're going to have probably about half a dozen diving suits and the diving gear and the tanks, etc. And start to take on parties of divers, so we can actually go down to the bottom of the canal freely, swim about and have a look at all of the wildlife there. And I'm sure that many of you would love to do this, because it's another world down there, a world that you've never seen. And I think looking at my little laddo here, these sort of creatures, there are some of them that look at him. Think of that, he's about 18 inches long. A water monitor lizard fully grown is 6 times the length of him, if not more. What fantastic creatures to be able to get close up to. Thank you for listening, and goodbye. You ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count 'em.